In this video, I want to talk about how to use a compass. This is your traditional compass that you might see where you have the point, which is called the center, and then over on the other side would be what we call the pencil point, where the pencil goes in and can be used to draw different arcs. The ones in class we'll use will have the same points, but it's going to look quite different. So it'll still have a center and it'll have a place for the pencil, but it's quite easy to use. And typically like this is plastic, but some of them come with metal points and so on. But in class we'll use a different one, but it'll still work quite the same. So one thing to keep in mind, again, we said this is called the center, and what a compass essentially does is allow you to create circles or parts of circles, which we'll call arcs. So for example, if I wanted to draw a circle, I would first take my pencil to make a point, which we're going to call the center of that circle, and then we're going to use the center of the compass. So once I lock this in, I'm going to set the center of the compass on that point, and then as I adjust the compass, this adjustment is what we call the radius of our circle or arc, depending on what we're doing. So what I'll do now is once it's on there, in this particular case we'll hold it at the very top, and then we just give it a drag around. And you can see this one is a little bit tricky to do. The one in class we'll do, which I'll do another video on, is going to be a little bit easier. But for some of you, you may have one of these at home. So if you want to practice, that's why I'm doing this. So there you see we drew a perfect circle with our center. Again, this is the center of the compass, and when we adjust it, it becomes the radius of that particular circle. All right, now what we can do is take a straight edge, or a ruler in this case, and do different things with it. And in class, we'll go through the specific constructions we're going to do. But if I were to draw a line, maybe I want to break that line up into different parts, for example. Or maybe I just want to copy that line, to have the same length. Say, I want this length of line, and so we can copy it by opening the arc up like so. Okay, so now we know the distance of the line, and we're doing this without the ruler, because of course it would be easy to say, hey, yeah, I can just measure it. But this actually gets you an exact measure without actually using the ruler. So then what we can do is, if I were to take my pencil and mark a point, since I have this distance measured, I can put that on the center, on the point. So this center of the compass is always going to go on some point whenever we're using the compass. All right, so I have that measured, and now I can make an arc. And when I make that arc, now the distance from this point to the arc is going to be the same distance as this line. So then I can go back to my straight edge and complete the drawing to copy this particular line segment. Now I know, again, some people are saying, why don't you just measure it? We can, but what if we don't have an actual ruler? What if we just had a straight edge or a piece of wood that didn't have measurements on it? We can still get the exact distance using a compass and some type of straight edge. We'll get into specifics of the different types of constructions we're going to do. Of course, this will be one of them, which we'll talk about in the future again in more details. But I just wanted to show you one type of example that we can do. So this particular line is called an arc. It's not a full circle. And now, again, if we made the full circle, it would be, but it's part of the circle, in which we call it an arc. And so, here's another thing we'll get into more detail. What if I wanted to cut this in half perpendicularly? So what we would do is set a radius, and then I'm going to create an arc above and below the line. Again, I'll get into more detail of this later. And then create an arc this way. And then we take our straight edge and connect where the arcs intersect. So down here the arcs intersect, and up here the arcs intersect. And when I do that, that creates a perpendicular angle through two lines. Now, we didn't have a compass, a protractor to measure it. We just used the straight edge and a compass using the properties of geometry. So these are some of the things we can do. But what's kind of cool about this too is, say we just had a compass. We can do all kinds of really cool designs. And so this becomes a fun project, which is what I want you guys to do in class over the next couple days, is just have fun with this and create some real artistic type designs. So just, you know, you can do a circle like this. It ended up sliding and it moved off the line. So what's happening here with this cheap compass is why we don't use these in school. We use a different one that doesn't do this a lot. So now I have to refine my measurement there. Okay. So say I wanted to create a circle. You're getting the blooper reel for this video. All right, and say we create this circle, and say we can do different things. Maybe I want to make a triangle. We can, you know, we can make lines on here and connect them. So maybe I want to connect here to here to here or something like that, and I can use the compass to do that. So say I want this distance here, and we're going to mark. We're going to do mark something like this. So every time we get a mark, we're going to make an arc like so. Okay, so every time we have a mark, we're going to arc it. Okay, now interestingly, it intersected back to where it came from. Okay, and so we have this kind of interesting star-looking shape. And then we can color it and do, whatever you want. You can do different things. Maybe you want to change the arc, and now we're going to do something like from in here, where we can, draw another circle in here, and then color the different segments. So it's up to your imagination. I do have some ideas for you that you can try to do. And as we do more constructions, I think you'll be able to figure out how to do it. So it's kind of a fun activity. So hopefully you get the idea of how to adjust the compass and, how to do different things and some ideas there. And so have fun with it. I look forward to seeing what you guys come up with.